This is TWIS, This Week in Science, episode number 470, recorded on Thursday, June 26th, 2014. NeanderPoo. I'm Blair, and today we will fill your head with butterflies, poop, fossils, and worms. But first...
Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. The following hour of programming is part of an ongoing investigation into planet Earth's ability to make discoveries in the field of science. Each week we check in on our subject to see how things are coming along. And each week, the Earthlings surprise us with many new scientific discoveries with which to amuse ourselves. From their perspective, the human ability to sense things is quite limited. Narrow band of light spectrum vision, limited audio frequency hearing range, and not much else. And yet, with the aid of their very primitive yet highly functional brains, there is very little beyond the human ability to comprehend. Where senses fail, they construct new ones. Where evolution left them off, they evolved technology to go further. And when even the most powerful technology on Earth cannot observe a subject of interest directly, the human uses a form of mystical pattern recognition they call math to know things about the universe, far from human ability to see, hear, or taste. And while we observe the human condition in general to be inexplicably and unpredictably less than desirable, it is only these highest achievements of the awesome amazingness that we have included in this report, now being submitted for your perusal, entitled This Week in Science, coming up next.
I've got the kind of mind I can't get enough. I want to learn everything. I want to fill it all up with new discoveries that happen every day of the week. There's only one place to go to find the knowledge I seek. I want to know what's happening. What's happening? What's happening this week in science? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening this week in science?
Good science to you. No Kirsten, Blair, and Sama. Welcome.
Hi.
Hey, guys.
Happy Day of Science.
Happy
Welcome
Science
everyone
Day.
to This Week in Science. And we have a great show ahead. And first, I want to introduce our special guest. This is Sama Ahmed from Carry the One Radio. Hey, Sama, thanks for being with us tonight.
Hey, Blair, Justin, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I'm
tell
very
us a little
excited
bit
to be
about
here.
yourself and why you're here.
I'm here because Kiki gave me an email a few days ago to be here, and I jumped on it. I'm a neuroscience PhD student at the University of California, San Francisco, and I host, like you said, Carry the One Radio, which is another science podcast based out of the Bay Area. Yeah.
Sweet. Awesome. So we have so much science news today. What do you have, Justin? What did you bring?
I've got the music that chimps like to bounce to. I've got gut microbes. I've got scary global warming news. And perhaps some hidden diversity of the mouth.
Awesome. Sama, just a couple snippets of what you brought, some headlines?
Yeah, I'll be talking about microbeads ruining the ecosystem, Neanderthal poop, and how rats show regret.
Awesome. I brought a whole lot of invertebrates. Shocking. I have a story about butterflies. I have a story about earthworms, spiders, a little bit about climate change if we have time, and my favorite story of the week, dirty, disgusting cell phones. Yeah, so let's get right into it. Tell me a story, Justin.
Okay, what kind of music do chimps like? You've worked with chimps quite a bit. You must have some indication. What kind of music do they...
Oldies rock and roll.
Hip hop.
Right? Okay. Okay. So so in Western research, we have looked at pop, blues, classical, rock, different kinds of music, and presented it to the chimpanzees, and we've discovered they seem to like anything that's got a little bit of a slower sort of rhythm and beat and tone to it, right? Well, it turns out we were kind of limiting our tests to westernized music because when they did this same study elsewhere, and used African and Indian music, they found the chimps enjoyed it quite a bit more. And how they can tell the chimps are enjoying this, they tend to hang out in the areas where they can best hear the music. You know, they gravitate to those locations where they can hear it, and when they wander off and all of a sudden can't hear it, they kind of go back, right? So the rhythms, the more complicated rhythmic patterns of the African and Indian music, more appealing to the chimps. Also interesting, they played classic Japanese music. And the chimps would try to get as far away from where they could hear it the least, or it made it impossible for them to hear the music.
Wow.
Yeah. Chimps not a fan of Japanese music, apparently.
Wow, tough critics.
Yeah, they liked the more intricate the ratio of the backbeats there, the more they were into it. But the Japanese music has kind of a westernized tone to it, in that the beats themselves are very steady and hard. So it's more like boom, 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 and not so much, you know, like a doppel player going at it. So, yeah, interesting.
Huh.
That's interesting they would have a preference at all.
Yeah.
Well, no, music soothes the savage beast, Blair. Music and animals. It's probably our discovery of music. Somebody started humming a tune, and then the first words were, wait, what is that? I know that. What is that? Oh, I'm going to get it. Don't tell me.
Well, if you're familiar with the works of Walt Disney, gorillas play instruments, so just saying.
Blair, is that why you no longer work at a zoo? You were attempting to bring
Guys, just hold the guitar. It'll be great. No, don't hit yourselves with the guitar. Pluck the guitar.
You're doing it all wrong.
Well, we know spiders play guitar on their spider webs. We've talked about that before. So we know that animals are already tuned in to frequencies related to music. It's interesting that they would have a... So, okay, this is the question. This research, it was done in the wild, or it was done...
Let's see. Oh, that's a... it sounds like it was in enclosures, because they were moving to or away from...
And so where? Where was this?
Let's see. Well, I don't know. It was at Emory University. The research was at Emory University, but I don't know where they performed the study.
This is what I'm wondering, is if these chimps grew up around humans listening to a certain kind of music.
Research Center and Emory University. That's where it was.
So is it possible that for their whole lives, the interns cleaning out the cages played classic rock in the background, and so they're used to kind of like a traditional beat, and that it depends on... There's other factors here. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
There's other factors at play. We don't know if all chimps across the board hate Japanese music and love,
I think they do. I think this proves that they do until somebody can prove otherwise.
All right. I'm on a quest for a chimp that likes Japanese music.
You know, and the melodies are kind of hard to follow sometimes. I might be with them.
Mm-hmm. Right. How cool. Sama, what do you have for us? Tell us a story.
So I put out feelers on Twitter to other scientists to send me articles, and this one came from Derek, who is an entomologist, and he said if I care about... this is his Twitter handle, Derek Hannon. He said if I care about current news, I should talk about microbeads, plastic microbeads being in like shampoos and cosmetic supplies being banned in New York because they somehow get into the waters and they pick up toxins and the fish eat them and become poisoned, and it's like this terrible life cycle for the beads. And actually, I didn't even know they put plastic microbeads in.
Yeah, I've never heard of this.
I've never heard of that.
That sounds like I'm paying more and getting less because they filled the thing with plastic.
No. It's like exfoliants. If you buy an exfoliating face wash, sometimes it's salt, sometimes it's sand is the exfoliant, but sometimes it's plastic beads they've manufactured. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also not clear if the beads themselves are bad or if what the beads pick up once they pick up some sort of toxins, and maybe the toxins themselves are bad.
Yeah, so there's that, and then there's also the microplastic side of things, where basically plastics never go away. They can get smaller, but they never disintegrate into their basal elements. So when you already have these teeny tiny plastic beads, and then you're washing them down, and they go through sewage treatment because they're so small, they don't get caught up in sewage treatment, then they end up in the ocean. And they don't go anywhere. They end up just hanging out, and animals accidentally ingest it, and it gets stuck inside their digestive system.
Yeah,
it's not great.
They said there's like 100,000 microbeads in a single bottle of whatever face cream or face exfoliant. Yeah, this is a lot.
Yeah, so I think this is a really good point. Is I think banning it is awesome, but in the meantime, until everybody starts to ban this stuff, we need to look, and I've started doing this too. If I buy an exfoliating wash or soap or body wash or whatever, face wash, I look at the ingredients, and it's really hard to tell. It's so hard to tell what's in there. But if you can try to figure out what the exfoliant is, and if it's something like sand or salt, then that's usually fine. But if it's not obvious to you what the exfoliant is, it might be plastic, and it's probably something you should stay away from.
Yeah,
totally.
They have a iPhone app or a phone app called Beat the Microbead, and you can download it and scan the barcode, and it'll tell you if it has plastic microbeads in it or not.
Well, that's clever.
That's awesome.
The future was yesterday.
Mm-hmm. That's so great. Awesome. Yeah. So what else you guys got? Either of you have anything else before we head into the corner?
Yeah, real quick. This is a study looking at the global warming situation. Apparently, we are in a situation where temperatures and the carbons in the air, kind of like the Earth was about 400,000 years ago. And about 400,000 years ago, the Greenland ice sheet got pushed past the threshold in which it could maintain its iciness and melted. And they're correlating that with the global sea level rise of about 4 to 6 meters.
Mm-hmm.
What? That's in the metric system. Which let me just get my metric system anomaly here to.
That's about
what is it? So
12 to 18 feet.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
That's like 12 to 18 feet.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. That's amazing. So the carbons are about where they were 400,000 years ago. The actual temperatures haven't reached there yet. The temperatures are escalating towards that point, and they should be there end of the century. End of the century, right? So we got some time to freak out still. Part of what might be missing from this, however, is they don't know. This is a correlation with the Greenland ice sheet. They don't know about the Antarctic sheet, how much of that had gone into adding to this. But that's a pretty... Yeah, it's a pretty freaky scene, picturing that. And there was an exceptionally long period between ice ages back then that resulted in a global sea level rise of anywhere from 6 to 13 meters above the present. Again, I don't even think we need this, because before that's 18 to 39 feet? That's ridiculous. What isn't going to get underwater at that point? Because most of civilization now is at the beach, or, Manhattan got a storm surge of a couple feet, and they flooded everything that was below ground,
Yep.
So, yeah, smoke them while you got them, people.
No. Hold on.
Wait, we don't be defeatist.
That is the exact wrong thing to say.
I keep forgetting.
Justin.
Move to higher ground. Wow.
Smoke them while we got them is the exact wrong thing to say. How about we should work on keeping this from happening?
Buy high,
slowing
sell
it.
low. And I mean that in real estate terms, not the stock market. You'll go wrong.
All right. Well, you guys want to enter the animal corner?
Let's go. I'm ready.
Great. So I'm going to start right off, since you were talking about climate change, with a climate change story. So studying animals that are affected by climate change, there's a few ways an animal could be affected by climate change. They could not be able to cope, and their food could disappear, and they could die off. That's one way. But another way is usually an animal is going to try to chase their resources or their preferred temperature. And so if you're on flat ground, you would go, if you were in the northern hemisphere, you would end up fleeing north. If you were in the southern hemisphere, you would end up fleeing south, right, following your temperature as things get hotter. But if you're on a mountain, what do? You go high in elevation, right? You chase the cold weather up. So when you're doing that, when you're chasing up, first of all, you can only chase up so far, and then you're as up as you can get, and you're stuck. But also, as you go up, space is usually more limited because, you know, mountains are kind of triangle-shaped. So, because of that, that also increases competition. And looking at the Alps, the Italian Alps, they were looking at alpine chamois, a species of mountain goat, or chamois, I think, mountain goat.
Renowned for the absorbency of its.
No, that's the chamois goat. This is the chamois goat. So the chamois goat, they are going north. They're going high in elevation. They're chasing the cold weather. But they also are dealing with competition from sheep. And what they found is that the sheep are actually having a greater effect, competing with the sheep are having a greater effect on the chamois than the climate change itself. So when they would reduce the amount of competition, when they would keep the sheep away from these goats, the chamois were able to adjust to climate change much easier. And so they didn't even flee as far. They were able to withstand a wider range of temperatures. They just couldn't stand the extra competition. So
is competition for food, or what do you mean?
For space. So basically, if a sheep is in their space, they get out of there.
I see.
And that's going to be north because that's where the cooler temperatures are. But they flee less far when they don't have sheep around. So there's a couple things here. One, if these sheep are being managed by humans and they're domesticated sheep, then this is something we have to keep in mind as the climate continues to change and there's increased pressure on these species. If we can keep these domesticated animals away from the wild animals that are facing pressure from climate change, that can help keep these species alive. Secondarily, if climate change mixed with competition is really the problem here, that means that we may find ourselves having to make difficult decisions, and we may not be able to save every species in every area. We may have to decide who to favor, which could be very difficult. But it's an interesting whole extra dimension to this problem that I think I haven't really thought about. Is the reason climate change is such a big problem for species is that it's like you have a cold and a broken leg and a sprained wrist and a sunburn all at the same time.
Oh, quit whining. So what do you think about if we did relocation? And now this is tricky because then you're taking, I don't just mean moving it gathering up the chamois. The chamois goats and taking them just a little further north. What if we found some bit of Canada that we decided they would do well in? I mean, then we're creating new ecosystems. Then we're doing animal introductions to places, because that's going to be the thing. It's not just about saving these animals. We're going to have to accept the fact that everything's going to have to move and start creating and fighting for a new niche in a new ecosystem. Because we're talking about almost as though we're a different planet.
This is such a multi-dimensional issue because, first of all, introducing species is always tricky.
Yeah.
Introducing species into an area they're not native, I would say 90% of the time is going to go wrong.
Well, no, that's too much. Because here's the thing, though. Everything has migrated around throughout history.
Yes, but they haven't been plucked and placed the way that you would have to do, especially with mountain ecosystems.
Yes.
You're going to have to pull those animals down a mountain and across borders and crazy far away.
Right. Where they are now, they're not going to be able to make it. So there's going to have to be. I mean, animals are trying to move, and they're getting stuck because there's now human developments in places where they're trying to travel into or across, and so there may be a redistribution if we're going to keep them. You know,
so
that's
right now that's part of this prioritization. Is the chamois goat so important to us in terms of a functionality standpoint, in terms of a scientific standpoint, in terms of all these things, in order to endanger that it's important enough to endanger potential other animals that might be doing okay in an area that the goat should be?
I think the polar bears will be happy to see them. I think they'll be greeted.
Well, that would be an unsuccessful introduction of the species, right? Because there would
all the polar bears eat them.
Yeah.
Hey, good. Here's the good news. No sheep.
Yep. All right, so that was my climate change story. Now it's time for Blair's dreamy animal corner. Here, I'm going to screen share. Spiders! So this is a spider that camouflages itself by covering itself in soil. Hooray!
That was pretty creepy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely not by accident.
It's a giant Mexican spider.
So, what happened?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I no longer see you, Blair.
And now she's back.
And you're back.
Hello?
You're
Okay.
here.
I guess I can't screen share and run a show. I'm thinking that's what happens. So this spider from Mexico, they encrust their entire body with soil particles. So they take their exoskeleton and they roll around in the dirt, and they are completely invisible.
Wait, they have like
so
sticky
they
stuff
hide
on
in
them?
burrows, and they use their... Yeah, so they kind of have a secretion that they cover themselves in with the dirt, and it sticks to their skin. They look just like the dirt. I just thought it was awesome. It's another way spiders are trying to terrify us all.
Putting on costumes.
Yeah. And then one more, and then I'll save the rest for after the break. Earthworms. Speaking of invasive species, oh my gosh, everything's leaked today. Did you guys know that earthworms can be invasive?
How so?
If they invaded, would anybody know? Like, how would you?
Like an old 1950s movie about that?
Yeah, giant earthworms. So
oh,
it turns
giant
out,
earthworms. Yeah, that would feel like invasive.
yeah.
Talking about regular earthworms. That's a perfect example. Earthworms can live anywhere earthworms can survive, and nobody will complain, right?
Wrong. So in Canada, they have started seeing earthworms everywhere, and it is a recent invasion. And they actually are doing considerable damage. So worms, they are useful in gardens because they mix up the soil, they increase aeration, but in forests in Canada and the northern United States, it's a problem because they consume the forest leaf litter and then they mix it with the lower mineral soil, and that changes the dynamics of the forest. So all of a sudden, this thick forest floor is gone. The soil is a different kind of balance of minerals. And it's actually causing some upheaval in these northern forests. And so kind of to explain how they could be invasive, because this was kind of surprising to me. I kind of thought earthworms were just everywhere.
That's what I thought.
But about 11,000 years ago, at the end of the last ice age, pretty much all of the earthworms were wiped out, and they were only reintroduced to North America during European settlement from, you know, egg cases on people's shoes or stowaways in food, that kind of stuff.
Wait a second. So you mean the plethora of earthworms that I can go out with a shovel and dig in a yard? I could just in a couple of minutes I'll find a half a dozen earthworms. You're telling me none of them grew up here, or like were here 200 years ago?
That way. Yeah.
Wow.
It appears that way. But
now
then
that's an invasive species. That was because they are everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And so they were kind of just in the lower United States, and then they've been moving northward from fishing, boating, camping, stuff like that. If an earthworm is on a hook and you don't use it, you throw it into the water. Well, now you're introducing it into the area. Worms and worm cocoons hitchhike on tire treads, wheel wells, feet, all that kind of stuff. From there, they can spread 5 to 10 meters a year on their own. Can you imagine a worm? And he's not just at a run, but he's just living out his life, and he can spread with his babies 5 to 10 meters a year. And if they're in a stream, it's even faster. So now they've found, for at least 14 non-native species of earthworm in Alberta. And this is kind of the area where this new research is taking off, where they're calling on citizen scientists to figure out where these worms are and what the species are. And so they're working on having people in the Alberta Worm Invasion Project. You can Google Alberta Worm Invasion Project. And they are trying to figure out what's going on with these worms.
Are you sure it's just that the Canadians aren't used to worms, so they're freaking out? They're like, worms! What are these things? Like, and they don't know that they're awesome yet.
Well,
what's gonna
thing.
happen?
It has implications for carbon dynamics.
Carbon dynamics.
So I would think, though, that they would be a sequestration tool, you know, because if they're munching stuff that's on the forest floor and then they're digging down and pooping underground, that seems like a carbon sequestration routine. But
no, it's the opposite.
It's the opposite.
It's the opposite, because they're taking the carbon that's sequestered in the plants and then they're turning that into waste, which is a release of carbon. So then
the bird eats them.
That's not the carbon cycle.
Food cycle.
That's something else. Yeah.
So, but it's good for the birds. At least the Canadian birds got to be happy about this.
Yeah. Well, the birds are happy, but they.
Of course, they're missing it. The Canadian birds don't even know to get up early.
No, they don't.
They don't even know.
No, they're looking for the locust instead of the worm. But so if anyone listening is in Alberta, you can use the Alberta Worm Invasion Tracker app. So Alberta Worm Invasion Tracker is the app that allows the public to record worm locations that they find. And so they're just trying to study kind of the spread of this, maybe trying to figure out a way to mitigate the spread of the worms in Canada.
Oh, so there's no plan to get rid of these guys, or?
Not yet. This is kind of a brand new study. So they're trying to just collect data right now as to where they are. So once they figure out the spread of the worms, then they can kind of try to figure out how to get them out of there. Yeah. So that's pretty interesting. I love citizen science. So that's so awesome. But also, I think it's so funny that earthworms are invasive.
I guess anything can be invasive.
Yeah. So, all right. So I think maybe it's time for the break.
Let's take us to the break. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
We're going to have more of This Week in Science coming up as soon as Blair finds the button that makes the music.
I don't have the music. So.
You don't have the music.
I only had the opening theme. So we're just going to pretend there's music, and then I'm going to read some ads, all right? Great. Okay. Audible.com is the leading provider of audiobooks with over 150,000 different titles in a variety of genres. TWIS has found many science-based books in the Audible library. You can start a free trial today and get any audiobook download for free and support TWIS all at the same time. All you have to do is sign up at audiblepodcast.com/TWIS. That's audiblepodcast.com/TWIS. Go to audiblepodcast.com/TWIS now for your free download. Should I say it again? audiblepodcast.com/TWIS. TWIS also has merchandise you might enjoy. Head over to twis.org to buy some of our swag. We now have a link on our website that goes directly to our Zazzle store. So go to twis.org and click on the Zazzle store link in the menu bar to start buying now. TWIS is supported by listeners like you. Your donations pay for our hosting, bandwidth, contractors we need to hire, and fun things we try to do for the show. We appreciate any amount. $2, $5, $10, $100. You make this show possible. We currently accept donations a couple of ways. First, we have PayPal donation buttons on each show page on our website, www.twis.org. Or, second, we have started a Patreon account. That's at patreon.com/thisweekinscience. It's kind of like a Kickstarter for media producers, where you can get stuff in return for your donation. Whichever your preference, go to the website, listen to the most recent episode, comment on the show, and make a donation. Can't afford a donation? We can always use your help to get more people listening and watching to, or listening, sorry. Can't afford a donation? We can always use your help to get more people listening to and watching TWIS. Use your social networks for science and tell people to tune into TWIS. We thank you for your support. We couldn't do it without you. And now we're going to wait for Justin. Sweet. Let's see.
Want me to put on some music?
Sure, as long as it's not copyrighted.
I've got some non-copyrighted stuff here.
All right.
Let's see.
And are we back?
We're back.
And we're back with more This Week in Science.
Oh, you're back. No
Hooray!
music.
Who wants to tell me a story?
I want to hear some of the story about the NeanderPoo. This is an exciting story.
Okay, I got this one from fellow scientist Kate Baranovitz, who's on Twitter as Clatrin Says. And it's about, they discovered at a campfire in Spain, it's about 50,000-year-old campfire in Spain, they discovered some fecal matter right next to the campfire. And they think it's Neanderthal poo. And they analyzed it and they found, most people think Neanderthals just eat meat. Well, they found that there is trace amounts of possible vegetation in the poop. So Neanderthals ate a lot of meat, but probably also ate berries and other vegetables. So a caveman diet is probably not just eating meat.
Yeah, and it's another one of these sort of pigeonholes that we put Neanderthal in. And the more we learn about them, the less different they keep coming back at us.
Yeah, it's really. I learned a lot of things from this. Well, for one, let me put this disclaimer out. They're not 100% sure it's Neanderthal poop. Well, not everyone's convinced that it is. So some people think you have to do some sort of like DNA analysis or protein analysis to figure out if it's really Neanderthalic or if it's just from a bear that came by the campfire and deposited. So that disclaimer out. But let's just say it is. Let's believe it. I learned
Neanderthal poop,
yeah.
bear poop, same thing.
Yeah. And also there are some sophisticated ways of telling if what you have in your hand is actually fossilized feces. The first thing you do is you at least look at it, and if it looks like it's probably it. And the second thing you do is you put it under a blue light.
Oh, thank goodness you didn't say taste it. Okay.
No,
I was just worried, like,
there's a hair in it. Yeah, you put it under blue light, and if it glows, it's probably fecal matter because there's high phosphates in feces, which apparently makes it glow green under blue light.
Oh.
Did not know that.
That's something you can all try at home later.
Or not.
I'm just saying, you can try that at home.
So this is also though they've been finding bits of plant matter in Neander teeth previously. So this would just actually like come full circle there.
That's right.
That they weren't just gnawing
They
and spitting
didn't
out.
in fact, eat it. Yeah, it wasn't just for fun. They're like, let me just chew on this. Nope. Nope. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I think it's just they probably just ate whatever was around them, and if there's a lot of deer to hunt, they probably ate deer. If they lived in a high vegetation area, they probably picked berries. That's what I would. Yeah. That's what I would do if I was in Neanderthal.
It seems like most animals that are strict carnivores, I think any humanoid doesn't really fit the bill in my brain. There's not a lot of animals out there that are strict carnivores, and the ones that are, they have certain specialized things about them that make the reason that they've kind of switched from being able to eat a variety of things to just meat. And I think it only makes sense that, especially if you have the kind of high input requirement that a humanoid did and that the brain needs, like the brain needs so much glucose and it needs so much stuff that is probably harder to get from just meat, that if they were developing a frontal lobe, you'd need kind of a more varied diet. I don't know, it kind of makes sense to me. It's hard for me to picture a humanoid as an obligate carnivore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would be such a waste of resource too if you were passing by edibles in the Neander wilderness and
edibles, yeah,
you just didn't go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know much about how specialized Neanderthals were in their dieting.
Yeah. Well, apparently the jury's still out, so you know about as much as the next guy.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's funny too because they have had so many fad diets come out that are based on, the paleo diet or the caveman diet. They have all these different diets kind of based on what they thought primitive man ate. And the more that we learn about it, it's just kind of like, no, it ate all pretty much the same stuff we ate now, except for the weird chemical-y stuff. Yeah. Everything that is derived from some sort of natural piece, we were pretty much eating before.
Yeah, and it's also a big flaw in those arguments because just because this is like let's say we know 100% this is what Neanderthals ate, it doesn't mean that that's good or the optimal diet,
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Because and more importantly, it doesn't. Yeah, even if it was the optimal diet for a Neanderthal, it may not be good for you because you aren't 100% Neanderthal.
No, only like 2%.
Right, and then even beyond that, the different populations, around the world today can have very different traditional diets that if somebody else is introduced to it, they aren't, they haven't been evolving with these foods, and it can have it can have different effects. It can either, you can have nutrients pass right through. You can have things like lactose intolerance is an example out there. You have really high rates of diabetes amongst Native Americans, where so there's a lot of things that we really don't understand. Anytime anybody tries to tell me that they understand anything about diet, I say, no, you don't. Because really, we're not there yet. We're just starting to get into the field and understanding how the microbes, our microflora, affect everything in conjunction with our genes. Which brings me to this story. Gut microbe levels linked to type 2 diabetes.
Whoa.
Right? Wild. So this says, according to this research, people with type 2 diabetes or obesity have changes in the composition of their intestinal microorganisms that healthy people, otherwise not obese or not with type 2 diabetes, simply do not have. They do not have this particular composition or these changes that are taking place. This is research out of Turkey. So what's really interesting, though, is you don't know cause and effect. You don't know, is there something about your diet that altered your microflora, which is completely happens. If you have a very this, that, or the other diet, it changes and affects your microflora to some degree. What's getting fed, what isn't getting fed, and not just in the stomach, but all the way further down into the tract. Certain things make it further than others. So what you're eating definitely can affect that. Or is it somebody with diabetes or obesity has something else going on that's then, after the fact, affecting the microflora? Don't know. Don't know which is, if it's a cause or simply an effect of having this condition, but really interesting to look at, because if there is a causal effect, wow, wouldn't that be wild, right? If diabetes or obesity even is because of the microflora, then it's time to go in for a fecal transplant, Don't
you think it's likely the other way, though, that whatever these people are eating that are giving them diabetes or making them obese is changing their gut chemistry?
Right. So that's exactly right. So that's the thing. But that's the thing that they don't know if it's a cause and effect. Is it that the gut bacteria were changed by the diet, and that's now causing different reactions to the way nutrients are getting picked up, or whether insulin was being ignored or taken up too much, or what? So they don't know. And it's likely that if whatever you're eating in your diet is causing you to have this different microflora is linked. That is linked to the diet and the microflora. Very likely are linked here, right? We can figure that out, but we don't know necessarily the obesity or the diabetes is how the food is then causing that, or if it's just the microflora and the way that it's been transited. So we don't know. But this is a huge find, right, for them to go now and investigate to answer those questions.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot more microbiome studies coming out these days, and it's just like the beginning of, who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, the fecal analysis using molecular biology techniques showed that several of the common types of bacteria in the gut were present at considerably lower levels in the obese and diabetic groups. Oh, we lost Blair again. Blair's freezy Blair tonight. And Sam, I'm glad you can hear me, because this means I'm not frozen. Because sometimes I start talking that other people are frozen, and then all of a sudden it turns out I'm the one that's frozen, and they've all moved on. And I'm on this separate time loop. And she's back. Oh, she's delayed by like 5 minutes, though.
It's all right.
I can hear you.
Blair, I got 3, 2. Oh my gosh.
I feel like we're in a time tunnel.
I know we are. What? Here we go. Hang on. Oh my goodness. Hang on. We got to get the timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly things back in order here. Let me see. How far off are we? Okay, let's try that again.
Okay, I turned my camera off. Does that help?
3, 2.
1.
Okay, we're getting better. We're getting better. I think one more beat from the TARDIS, and we might actually be in the same time-space continuum again. But Blair, no better time than the present to let Sama take another story.
Great.
All right, I'll take another story. This one came also from another entomologist, scientist. His name is Morgan, and his Twitter handle is BioInFocus. He's got a really good, really great blog about biology, and he's just a really good writer. And the story he gave me was from Jerry Coyne's website, Why Evolution is True, and it's about this fossil larvae that they found that's from the Jurassic era, about 165 million years ago in China. And it's pretty astounding because it's really hard, apparently, to fossilize warm, fleshy animals like larvae. And these guys found 3 of them. And just from this little fossil, they were able to get so much information out of it. They can describe how the animal probably lived. There's so much detail in the fossil. I wish I could show you a photo actually. It has a little sucker on it, so it probably was a parasitic animal, attached itself to underwater creatures. They could tell it breathed water even though it lived underwater. It breathed air even though lived underwater. And it's it also it's if it were to be alive today, it would be in the sister family to horseflies. So it's just a regular old worm, larvae that we see every day on our rotten fruits. And but you should, if you can, put on the website link to the photos, because they're really, really beautiful. Looks like someone drew on a piece of rock,
Interesting.
Yeah, fossilized maggot. Is Blair still out?
I think
I'm here.
Oh, you're back. Oh, she's back. She caught up to
Blair.
All right. I have an awesome quick story about microbiomes, since that's what Justin was talking about before. It's the perfect tie-in. And your smartphone. What's that?
I got a phone right here.
Great. So check out that phone.
Uh-huh.
That phone.
I wouldn't put it on your face. I think if I know what she's gonna say next.
Accurately reflects.
Whenever I'm making a call, I hold the phone right up to my face. Right? Isn't that how you use a phone? You hold it up to your face like this? Hold it against your face? Why wouldn't I hold my
Should I just call into
phone
the show at this point? I think I should just call in, because this is not working.
Okay, go, Blair, go, but why we can hear you.
All right.
You're doing fine. You're doing
our
fine.
cell phones accurately reflect our own microbiome. So the 82% of the most common bacteria on participants' fingers were also found on their phone in this new study. And it was, there is a, quote, significant microbiological connection with our phones. And they actually found a stronger connection between women and their
Ooh. An inexorable connection between women and their what? Women and their what, Blair?
I'm gonna start shouting. This
something. I mean, my imagination is filling in. I think it needs to be corrected. There's a connection between the biome.
In the study, everybody had a statistically significant match between themselves and their phone, their own microbiome. It was a stronger connection for women than for men.
How is it that they're using their phones differently than men now?
This is what I would guess, is that, and I know this is a stretch, but women put on makeup, right? And I have a strong suspicion that their makeup tools are covered with their microbiome. And so they are spreading their microbiome all over their face and then making a phone call on the way out the door.
That's interesting. That is interesting.
Another reason to wash your face, but not with micro-bead plastic cosmetics.
Nice. Awesome. And so, anyway, they found 7,000 different types of bacteria, but this is what I was saying when I froze last time. The most commonly found were Streptococcus, Staphylococcus, and Corynebacterium. There's common skin residents, the last two, and the first one, Streptococcus, is usually found in the mouth, strep throat, right? And so this is interesting because this could turn into a bunch of cool things where just by using your phone could send up an alert that said, you need to go to the doctor.
Oh, right, yeah, you could just make the phone the sensor and keep figuring out doing a little testing to see what's on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
They're especially interested in this for healthcare workers, because healthcare workers can spread horrible diseases around a hospital, but also to their family at home. So if their smartphone can tell them, oh, you have staph infection on your fingers, don't go home right now. Like, they can go and they can, like, wash up better, whatever, maybe hang out in the hospital, get treated before they go home and spread it around. So that would be really awesome. And then otherwise, yeah, it could be used just for the regular old person for just constant monitoring of your bacteria. Because if the bacteria on your skin changes, a lot of the time that's evident to other problems.
Also, I think we should invent a UV light stand for putting your smartphone at the end of each day that sanitizes it with the power of solarium.
Oh my god. I set my phone on so many things during the day. I wonder if that has something to do with it too, that women...
Because you don't always have pockets.
Because women don't get pockets as much,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I just wonder, we carry it more. Women maybe physically carry the phone more in their
back
hands.
pocket. You got the hot pants on.
Yeah.
You got your yoga pants on. You got your whatever pants on. And you got to hold it in your hand all day long.
Or my favorite, the women's work pants. I bought women's Dickies for work, and they had fake pockets. They had like the flap. They had the flap that was sewn onto the pant and no pocket.
Wow.
Unnecessary.
They're work pants.
Wow.
That is taking too many shortcuts.
Yeah. That is funny.
I think we also lost Blair again.
She comes and goes. She's drifting out. She's got her own time-space continuum thing going on over there. She'll eventually come back to us. But if she does, when she comes back, we're going to have to tell her to back off! Because according to this study,
Goodness. Anyway.
and our long struggle for survival, we humans learned that something approaching us is far more of a threat than something that is moving away.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And every time somebody comes towards us, we get a little freaked out, man. We're like, why is somebody walking towards me? They could be walking the other direction, I'd be fine, but they're walking my way. This is especially prescient because part of my job, I work as a car salesperson. So I have to approach people all day long. That's what I do. And there is always this sort of, dun, 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 dun. Like I can see them getting nervous. Like, okay, don't look directly at this. Don't look into his eyes. If he spots us, he's gonna come. Hi, yeah, no, it's like this whole build-up.
You can smell the fear.
Yeah. So it says here, this is University of Chicago Booth School of Business, Professor Christopher K. C. says we still have negative feelings about things that approach us, even if they are not objectively trying to threaten us. In order to survive, humans have developed a tendency to guard against animals, people, and objects that come near us. He explains, This is true for things that are physically coming closer, but also for events that are approaching in time. Interesting. We get threatened by events approaching in time. That's weird. I don't know if I completely...
No, I can understand that, for sure.
I mean, I guess people get nervous, but I always think that people get nervous because they're trying to do time math. Like, okay, I have like another 164 days until Christmas. Okay, I can put off this, that, and the other. And then all of a sudden it's like 12 days till, and you're like, I gotta do something to get these. I'm sorry, but I forget you don't get to celebrate Christmas.
I do.
But for the
My dad's Catholic.
Oh, there you go. So I always figured it was just a time management fear, but I like the way you put it. Even events approaching us in time.
Yeah, think about
like
if
final
you
exams.
procrastinated on a paper.
Right? Interesting. Yeah, it says approach avoidance is a natural human tendency, and we don't seem to be adequately able to distinguish between times when we should be employing this anxiety and times when we really don't need it. We just simply, in general, tend to fear approaching things and looming events, even if objectively they need not be feared. Don't fear the future, people.
Yeah. I'm getting on an international flight in 48 hours.
Don't be afraid.
I'm not afraid.
I'm
not afraid.
Something to move away from you. The whole time.
It'll actually be moving fastly past me when I'm doing that. So, anywho, speaking of threatening situations, I want to hear about rats regretting bad decisions. It's kind of related, right? You fear things when they're coming up, and then all of a sudden you regret afterwards, right?
Yeah, this is a pretty cool study. Again, I asked on Twitter for someone to give me and I got this from Lynn. It was Lynn Wong, L Wong 19, and she works in our science podcast, Care the One Radio. And in this paper, the thing that they were trying to study is regret, which is, let's say you go to get a burger because you're really hungry, and you see that there's a line, there's like 10 people ahead of you, and you're like, I don't want to wait for 10 people, I'm just going to go across the street to the pizza place. And you go across the street, and you get there and you find that there's actually like 50 people in line, so you like have immediate regret that you didn't just wait in the first line for the burger. So this group at University of Minnesota, they just took this idea and simplified it down to rat size. So they have rats, and the rats go into a little food
rat pizza place.
Yeah, it's like they call it restaurant row, and it's just like 4 different restaurants. The rats like go in a circle. So they go into like the pizza joint, and they get like information about how long they have to wait, and it's like based on the tone they hear. So if they hear like a high tone, it's like you have to wait 45 seconds. So the rats then have to make a decision about, okay, do I wait or do I go to the next spot? So if they get the tone that says it's going to be 10 seconds, and they like, I'm not going to wait, they go to the next spot, the burger joint, the pizza joint, and there they have to wait 50 seconds. They show like signs of regret, like they look back and they like want to go back to the place that they were, you know. So they have like this, and then they like go and like they did, this is a really cool study. They didn't like, you know, how do you know the animals are actually feeling regret and they're not just feeling upset that they missed an opportunity? Or so they if you make the animal like wait, like say instead of 10 seconds at the first place, and then like 8 seconds at the second place, like there's 8 people in line, like this time you're not going to feel regret like, oh, I should have waited at the previous place. Like you actually made a good decision, but you still have to wait, so you're still disappointed. And then the behavior that rat shows is different than it is when they have to wait longer. So there's like a regret, and then there's also disappointment, and it's a really, really pretty study that they came up with.
Yeah, I hope they had audio recording, because I would really like to know what it sounds like when a rat curses.
Yeah. It's like
Narf. Oh.
Narf. Yeah. That's right.
No, that's not copyright infringement.
No.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I don't.
Narf.
I do not know what you're... Yeah, that's my copyright infringement. That's fair play.
That's nice. Well, you know, it looks like if the rats wanted to get fed, you know where they should have headed? To the dump.
Where?
Ratatouille.
They should have gone to the dump. This is an amazing statistic. So this is a little story that's about labeling. They were talking about going in and redoing the way that we label the dating on foods. There's a lot of confusion. There's the sell by, use by, best if before. They all have different meanings. Nobody actually understands when should I actually not eat this. Or when should I throw it away? And so the argument they're making is chances are people are throwing away way too much food way too early because they just don't understand the best before, the use by dates. You don't understand that the date, I don't know, this could just be my grandmother making this up too. The date on the milk, right? That's when you got to get it out of the store by. You still have another week to 10 days to drink it.
Yeah.
I don't milk, Justin.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. But who knows? Who has the ability to read these things? But here's the amazing statistic. They got this is from 2010 data. That they estimated that 133 billion. That's billion with a B. Billion pounds of food was not eaten. It was just thrown away.
Mm-hmm. And how much of that is because it is bad, and how much of it is because they think it's bad, but it's not actually bad?
Well, exactly. They don't exactly know. But they say it's about a third of the amount of food that we had available for the 2010. So we're throwing away 31% of our food, just tossing it.
So I think about this all the time because in other countries, and also here maybe 50 years ago, you went to the store every day or every other day, right? You bought what you were going to eat that night and the next morning, and then you would go to the store again. But that's not how we work now. Now we go and we binge shop. We shop for a week or 2 weeks at a time, which means we overbuy some things, and we forget we've bought things. And this is why, in my opinion, we throw so much food away.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's what's going on, too. It's like we just buy, like, I used to live with my roommates, and we'd go to Costco and buy, like, tons of grapes and strawberries and all these vegetables, and, like, we wouldn't even get a chance to eat it all, and it goes bad in, like, 3 days. Yeah.
We are overbuying and paying extra for the convenience of not going to the store every day. Which I do. I try to go to the store once a week, and because of that, towards the end of the week, I'm like, oh, am I going to eat this food that is not so great anymore, or am I going to go get a burrito and then throw this away, right?
Like you put it back in the fridge until it spoils, and then you throw it away.
Yeah, exactly, because then you can throw it away without feeling guilty about it.
And but there might be some regret, right?
Yeah. Yep. Regret, right? Which rats can feel. See, everything's intertwined tonight. Love it. Okay, what else we got? Let's wrap this up.
I think I've run through the stories that I wanted to hit. Anybody else got anything?
I've got one more.
Great.
And this is from a pretty awesome scientist. It's Dr. Hopi Hoekstra. She's on Twitter also, and she's in Harvard, and she studies like mouse evolution and genetics. And her lab has these two species of mice that are really closely related. You can actually interbreed them, but they have different behaviors. So like one of the mice, like they both dig holes and live in burrows in the field, but one of them will dig a hole and then dig an escape tunnel going the other way. And the other species, which is named Maniculatus, will dig a hole and that's it. There's no escape tunnel. So what they did was they like interbred these mice and like multiple, like this 2 generations, and found the specific like genetic loci, like genetic regions that correspond to whether you dig an escape tunnel or you don't.
Wow.
And they found it actually just takes there's like one gene that determines if you build an escape tunnel, and the whole like burrowing behavior is complex behavior. It's like made up of smaller, simpler behaviors, and that's all controlled by about 4 genetic regions. So not a lot to control a really complicated innate behavior.
This is a sign of genetic memory.
Yep.
right? This is a trait of something that was learned, a behavior that was found to be useful for generations upon generations. That is in the genes. It's not a top behavior. This is instinct. The instinct has to, of course, be in the genes, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
But to locate it and say that's the memory of doing this, or the impulse to do this, trapped in the gene. That's amazing.
Talk about, nature versus nurture. This isn't even a learned behavior. This is something that is pre-programmed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So much of what we do, we don't even know. I bet we're not even going to start looking because people don't want to find out how much of what we do is pre-programmed.
Right. Yeah.
It's wild. But then, you can also think about how career paths follow in family lines a lot of the time. And when that kind of things happens, not always, but it's possible that sometimes it's because they have a genetic predisposition to certain behavior. That's certainly possible.
So I
can't rule it out.
I do believe that's largely true in I don't even know if it's family. I don't know. That's tough. I mean, when it comes to athletics, you can say yes. There's going to be genes that make you a better athlete. There's just are. I wonder though, when you're talking about like a career path, if that somehow could have a genetic link to it. I think that might have to do with being around shop talk and having home advisors and mentors in the family who can be like, oh, here's how you do this. This is the way to look at this. This is the way to approach that.
All I'm saying is it's both, right? It's both nature and nurture. So even if you grew up with a bunch of accountants in your family, if you didn't have the accountant wiring in your brain, you probably couldn't cut it.
I don't know.
That wiring ultimately comes from your DNA. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know if I buy it. I don't know if I buy it.
There's predispositions. You can still pick what to do. I'm not saying it's destined that you do something, but I'm saying that potentially there is a blueprint for capabilities for certain things.
Yeah, but here's the thing. When you're talking about the human brain, that's where, when you talk about the capabilities of the human brain, I say, yeah, there's a certain amount of genetic factor in being a human with the brain. But the brain itself has such a capacity that I don't believe that, so much of it requires education to be functional at anything.
Oh, well, of course, naturally.
There can be too much of an inherent ability to X, Y, Z. I mean, there's people with photographic minds.
The tools are there.
Can see something and remember it and hold on to it for a very long time. That's something that isn't teachable. I tried to learn how to do that, and it's not possible. There's some people who just are wired that way. But to occupationally, because occupations are such, I can't even say the word because we're on the air. Occupation-wise, things that people decide, I'm just going to do this, I'm going to do, oh, but what kind of an accountant? Because in this family, we're tax attorneys. Oh, no, not in our family. Our genes are different. We do corporate ledgers over here. Like, it's just ridiculous.
You're taking it much more extremely than I meant it.
Yeah, I think Blair is just saying that the potential could be genetically determined, and then whether you become X or Y or Z could be happenstance or environment.
Right. There's just both at play. That's all I'm saying, is that in some cases, if a burrowing mouse can pass on how to build an escape tunnel, then a lumberjack can pass on wood-cutting skills. That's all I'm saying.
Well, how much then we would all be like stonemasons and lumberjacks?
No, because we all have free will.
This just got invented in the last 100 years.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Is that doesn't mean that that's what we do and that's why we do it. All I'm saying is that framework might be in there somewhere.
That does explain that while I've been doing this show, while I've also been tiling the floor. Because I think genetically, we're into doing tile for a long time. That's why that makes sense. Every time I'm doing the show, I have to be.
You're bending my words, and I don't like it, Justin.
Okay, we better wrap it up.
All right, one more quick story. I will just say 2 sentences. Monarch butterflies, they use magnetism and they use light cues for their migratory behavior. So they use a sun compass and they use magnetic fields to get from one place to another. And they did this with an experiment, and they confused butterflies, and it's very interesting. You should check it out. It will be in the show notes. All right.
Change just one gene in a monarch butterfly.
All right, okay. Wrap it up, Justin. Wrap it up.
Wrap it up, he says.
Justin?
Oh, do I have the wrappity up bit? Okay, hang on. Let me go find the. Let me go find the wrappy up bit here. Thank you, Sama, from UCSF Carry the One Radio for joining us tonight. Where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm very easy to find. Just look on Google for Carry the One Radio, the science podcast, and you will find us. Our website is ctoradio.org. It's just right there.
I will check that out. That sounds totally awesome.
Easy to find.
Next week's show, we'll be discussing the science of Shakespeare. Really? Wow. Oh, that's going to be an awesome show. I hope I'm here. With science writer Dan Falk. Once again, we will be broadcasting live on the line at 8 p.m. on TWIS.org live, where you can watch and join our chat room. But don't worry if you can't make it, because This Week in Science is also a podcast. You can listen to past episodes at youtube.com, This Week in Science, / This Week in Science, or simply at twist.org.
Mm-hmm. Don't forget to tell a friend about TWIS and check out our Patreon page, patreon.com / This Week in Science.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show. TWIS is also available as a podcast. Just Google This Week in Science in your iTunes directory. You can also Google us on the Droid, where we're TWIS for Droid, or in the Apple Marketplace, where we're simply TWIS, T-W-I-S.
Mm-hmm. For more information on anything you've heard here today, show notes will be available on our website, www.twis.org, where you can also make comments and start conversations with the hosts and other listeners.
Or you can hit us up directly. You can email Kirsten at thisweekinscience.com, Justin at twistminion@gmail.com, Blair Baz at blairbaz@twist.org. Just make sure you put TWIS, T-W-I-S, somewhere in the subject line, or your email will be spam filtered into oblivion. You can also hit us up on the Twitter, at TWISScience, at Dr. Kiki, at JacksonFly, and at Blair's Menagerie. We love your feedback. If there was a topic you would like us to cover and address, a suggestion for an interview, a haiku that came to you in the night, please let us know.
We'll be back here next week. I may or may not be back here next week, but we will in some way be back here next week, and we hope you'll join us again for some more great science news.
And if you've learned anything from today's show, remember,
it's all in your head. I don't have music, sorry. I only had the beginning music, that was it.
But they're gonna she'll come back and edit music over it, so we should.
Does
look
she
like
actually? I've never actually seen if she does it.
I don't know. She probably says that she does just to watch us fake dance.
You like my squeaky chair?
Everyone's being quiet dancing. Thanks for having me, guys. That was great.
Yeah, that was fun.
Awesome.
The chat room's pointing out Blair made her bed.
I did.
Well done.
Because I still don't have a partition.
No partition. I, on the other hand, am now broadcasting from
I see that.
the moon.
Yeah.
Pretty
So
awesome.
I found out
Studio on the moon.
that my co-counselor that's doing Birthright with me next week, or starting on Sunday, is bringing his laptop. So I'm hoping I'm going to be like, hey, I want to use that laptop at 4 in the morning. You're not going to need that, right? So can I use that at 4 in the morning? Thanks. So I'm going to bring my headset, and hopefully I'll be able to use his MacBook to
You're not bringing your computer book?
No, I'm not. It'd be too difficult.
Oh. Really?
Yeah.
Why?
If
Because
Justin can broadcast from space, then I think you can
It's-
take your computer with you.
Right? I mean, she did it last time.
No, I did it when I lived there. I didn't do it when I went on Birthright because it's too hard. You're in a different hotel every single night, and there's sand everywhere, and I cannot afford a new laptop anytime soon. So, here, I'm going to text him right now and ask, can I borrow your laptop on Friday morning at 5 a.m. to do a video podcast? Long story. All right, we'll see what he says. I was going to wait until I met him in person to ask, but now... Whoops! I'll just ask him now.
Oh, the lunar rover is...
Yeah, where is it?
It's over there. Can you see? It's. I parked it. I think that's the rover. I can't tell. It's dust everywhere.
There's no landmarks.
Well, and you know, we painted everything white, which I think was a bad idea. Everything's very hard to find.
I'm trying to find for the chat room. They were asking about my butterfly story, and now I can't find it. It's disappeared forever.
Butterfly story.
It's gone forever. Spider species, earthworm invasion.
The busy butterflies have a built-in compass.
Yeah. Was it monarchs?
No, it says
What
it
is it?
says busy butterfly. It doesn't say which.
Right. I'll be
Type of
right back.
All right. All right, Justin, be fast. Okay.
What kind of
Oh,
butterflies?
this is an old one. About their colors being the main factor in scaring predators, not the pattern. They were probably the scarlet. No, not scarlet. Sapphire? A name for blue. I don't remember. Go to the show notes, Whiskey Renegade. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the migration story is about monarchs.
Ah, that's what I figured.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh my god, rights for robots. What do you take me for? It'd be funny if this wasn't my bedroom. That would be funny. Oh yeah, this isn't actually my bedroom. This is someone else's bedroom. I just podcast from here.
I should have joined the chat room before doing the show.
Oh, you weren't in the chat room?
No, I didn't.
Nuts.
Next time.
I should have told you. I'm sorry. Figured you were in there.
No,
Do you know how to join the chat room?
I'm trying now.
Okay. Webchat.freenode.net. Hashtag TWIS.
Nickname Sama. Okay. And I think I'm part of the chat. Yeah.
Sweet. A couple weeks ago, Whiskey Renegade. I don't think so. Sapphire is blue. Okay, so maybe it's sapphire.
Thanks to whoever said that. Identity 4.
Yeah. Yeah, that was super fun. Oh my goodness, I haven't even started packing yet. Ugh. So, does anyone want, let me rephrase. I'll be in Israel for 2 weeks. I will be tweeting pictures from Israel. So if you're not following me yet, you should now. And here they are. I'll put them in the chat room.
Looks like where all the fun stuff's, all the happening people are at.
What, Israel? Or, oh, the chat room. Yeah, it's pretty interesting in there.
Yeah.
It was red and yellow, Whiskey Renegade. I don't remember. Do you know what the date of the episode was, Whiskey Renegade? Because I could look it up if I knew what the date was.
Twit Refugee, yes, there is a green screen. There's a green screen behind. I don't know if I'm doing it right because I put the green screen up and then I put the backdrop over it, and that's how come you can see it in the digital format. I don't know. I think that's how it's supposed to. Yeah, it's I'm crushing the earth! I'm crushing the earth! Ah!
Thanks, Ben. And so, if anyone wants a picture or video from anywhere in particular in Israel, you should tell me, or any in particular part of Israel, or a plant or an animal or something, tell me, and I'll try to oblige. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Our Patreon's doing good. We're almost at the 500 goal.
No way.
We're really getting close. I don't know where it is. I'm
supporting you guys on Patreon, by the way.
Thank you. I didn't do the shoutouts tonight. I couldn't figure out where the.
Justin, we're at $417. That's not really close to $500.
That's really close. We're almost there. We were like a couple months ago.
Our first milestone. Yeah, we were at only 300 a couple months ago.
Not even that. We weren't even that. We were at like 2 something.
Yeah, our first milestone goal is $500 an episode. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Excuse me if we reach that milestone. It'd be awesome.
I'm hoping to be there by fall. Like that's the goal.
Twit Refugee, what do you mean? Why bother? I do have to go through customs, and they stop me every time, and I'm sure they'll stop me again. But after I, talk to them for half an hour and explain who I am and why I'm going to Israel again, usually they're very understanding.
Yes, Twit Refugee, I've got to get the fold. I think the fold sort of there visible in the backdrop is due to the green screen below it. I think the green screen below it's got a wrinkle in it. I didn't really iron it too well.
Justin.
Huh?
How gullible do you think we are?
I'll pull out an edge of it.
That's probably
the
best.
Vatican and the Pope are in Italy, Hot Rod. What are you talking about?
I can pull just from the side of it here. I've got a little. You can kind of see. It's just a green screen with the backdrop over it. So eventually, though, there is a green screen here. Eventually, I would like to incorporate that, and I'm working on it. I've got things that I'm plotting and planning and trying to achieve. Technology things. So it's going slow, but I'm working on it. I've got some new.
So if it says a green screen, you have to prove it and put something else behind your head there.
Yeah.
Well, I'd have to take down the backdrop and get another backdrop and put it up over the green screen. I don't. Like, that's a lot of work. I mean, I can get another backdrop and put it over it, but I don't know. I didn't read the. I don't really know what I'm doing with the technology thing, but I'm working on it. Every week, I'm gonna get a little bit more advanced here. I'm working my way up to a 2-shot. So I'll be like, boom, and then be able to turn and see a second camera. I want to be able, doing the show, blah, 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 bam, right? Maybe camera 2 will have the green screen effect behind it. Right? Or I would get up from here go over there with a green screen behind me and be at a completely different location. Working on it. Let's see. I need some lighting things, some camera stuff.
Ah. Ed, this is a weird bird. I've never seen this bird in all my times in Israel. Wow. It's the national bird of Israel, for real? A hoopoe. What?
I can't. Maybe if I just do that. That's a funky looking bird.
It's weird. Chosen as the national bird of Israel in May 2008.
Took a while to get to a national bird.
Outpolling the white-spectacled bulbul, which is also not that interesting looking. Okay. Whatever. I just like the national mammal.
Climate change weather with a green screen behind me. That would be kind of fun. All right. Justin's climate change corner. Climatia and you.
Ew.
Which is no, that's my. You guys
I know. You've talked about it before, but I still will say ew every time.
Yeah, because someone might never been following long enough because I haven't brought it up in a while. But I've decided instead of global warming, which just sounds like a hot summer, or climate change, which sounds like a setting on the AC, that we should name it Climatia, so that people would realize it's a really bad thing that we don't want our planet to have.
Climatia?
Climatia. All right?
Yeah.
And the only way to prevent Climatia is to wear your carbon cap.
That's right. It's like our climate, our Earth has been messing around with the wrong planets.
Yeah. I don't know where it's been.
I don't know where Earth has been.
We could do it too. I would love to do it like a PSA style.
Yeah.
Not even a PSA, but like a 16 millimeter film that they would show to people in the Navy who are going abroad. Right? Beware of Climatia.
Climatia.
Yes, it seems like she's a nice lady. I don't know how it would. I gotta go and do some research there. Fallout 3 background next time to RPG. I think if I would probably have to see how good of a Fallout. It'd be kind of fun to steal the artwork from Fallout, from the little Pip-Boy guy, and do animated stuff with that guy. That would be brilliant. But of course, somebody owns all that stuff. I gotta be careful. Like this image, I could do because this is NASA, right? We all own this. So it's part of the thing is, and this was cool too. This thing is.
Yeah, it was.
I made it small though. I did my dimensions kind of bad. I should have. I could have this be a much longer shot if I just made it a couple feet wider. Because right now I've got it pretty much on the edges. If I pan over a little bit, you can see. There's the edge there.
Is that a shower curtain?
No, it's not a shower curtain.
That'd be sweet.
It's the moon. I'm on the moon. Whatever.
Right. I wish I was handy enough to just make like a PVC. I bet I could still do it. Just like a PVC thing. I just need 3 straight edges, 2 L joints, and then 2 of the joints that go into the bottom and then have feet. And then I could hang whatever I wanted onto that.
Is there Blair? Is there a wall or window that you're facing?
It's a wall.
It's a wall. I got an idea. I know it's crazy.
I'm not turning the desk around.
Because that's all it would take. That's
Yeah,
all.
I don't have enough room.
If you can, this is what I'm not that good at math, but if you have the room to where you're sitting now, and you turn the desk around.
I'd have to actually rotate the desk then, though. That's what I'm saying. I don't have enough room and also this desk isn't like hollow out the back. There's a back on this desk, so if I pulled it out, I'd have to rotate it in order for me to still be able to fit in front of the desk.
Well, but. Right. Well, yes. Yeah. Well, exactly. That's
But
how.
then, okay. So then I would have to do that every week before the show. I would have to rotate the desk every single week before the show.
Why would you rotate the desk? Now you've just got a view from your desk of the bed.
But I wouldn't be able to walk around my bed anymore.
How often are you wandering around your room, pacing, wringing your hands in the middle of the night?
I don't pace or wring my hands, but I do walk around my room.
So okay. So here's the dimension I'm missing. Is your chair on wheels?
No.
Okay. Scooch it back until it's at the bed. I'm just trying to figure out what the dimensions are that you're working, because it's hard to tell.
All right. I'm at the bed.
You didn't scooch very far. Yeah, I got you now. Okay. But there seems like that within that was just it was scunching. It was just scunching distance. I got it now. So if you flip what if you do this? What if you do this? What if
I just get a backdrop?
No. Too complicated. What if you actually just put the desk all the way up against the foot of the bed?
No.
Then when you're walking around the bed, you're walking around the bed and the desk.
Then I can't hang my feet off my bed. I do that every night.
Yeah, you can hang them up on the desk. How fun will that be?
No. I don't like it. I'd rather have a collapsible PVC thing.
Where are you going to put that?
Well,
walk around the bed.
It collapses and it goes in the closet.
I'm freaking out. I got a shower curtain that's touching my toes. I can't sleep.
It's collapsible. If it's just PVCs that go into joints, I'd collapse it. It'd be super easy, 5-minute setup. Or, like Marianne is saying, I could just get 2 mic stands.
And your bed is like too symmetrical. Look, you're losing losing room on one side or the other. Slap that bed into a corner where it belongs.
No.
You don't get out of bed on both sides, do you?
Yes.
What? You don't have like a set side of the bed you already get out of, in and out of?
Yeah.
Okay. Right,
but I use both sides.
No, you don't. In fact, why is it sticking out of the wall like it? Flip that bed and turn it and slap it against the corner where it belongs, and you've got plenty of room, Blair.
No.
Yes. There's a solution to your problem. It's very easy.
Yeah, and it's PVC.
I'm now noticing you
and
have
a shower curtain.
Turn the angle of the bed. Put it in that corner over there. I don't know why. Who needs a bed stand on both sides of their bed? This is too much. Look at all the knick-knack bric-a-brac you're collecting. It's just too much stuff. You don't need all that.
That's rude.
So if you turn the bed, then you've saved about 4 feet of space behind you. Then you can flip the desk, and you got the wall, and you can do a backdrop. Problem solved. You're welcome.
Nope. Mm-mm.
Okay, so
I'm just gonna buy some PVC.
So you need to go get some PVC pipe. Is that what's gonna happen?
Yeah, and I'm gonna get a shower curtain.
It's gonna be. Oh, you'd be pretty well themed up. You can get some nice fishy shower curtain back there.
Yeah, exactly. Or I'm thinking I could get just like a plain white shower curtain, and I could paint it however I wanted.
But I'm gonna change your theme song.
Too.
Blair's Animal Shower. Let's all go to Blair's shower and see what's going on.
That's somehow worse than being in my bedroom. Unless I showed up in a shower cap. That'd be pretty sweet.
I considered doing that once. I almost went on the air once. I was trying to figure out the setup for it. I was going to do like when you come onto the show, right? You can be in a different location to the setup, and so I was thinking of doing one from the tub once. Like I'd just be in the bathtub, and then I'd be like, "Oh, is it time for the show? I almost forgot."
Rubber ducky, you're so fine. I'm so happy that you are mine. Rubber ducky, I'm so awfully fond of you. Do 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 do.
Did I get anything new on the 23andMe front? No, that was pretty much it, I guess. Did I do the breakdown last week? Did I talk about the second cousin that it found? I think I did.
Second cousin.
Yeah, that was the coolest.
Oh, that was Jewish?
No. But so because I'm a little bit skeptical about all things having to do with the world out there. So I did this 23andMe thing, Sama, where you spit the cup or a little vial, you send it in, they do a basic genetic test on 23 genes. And they kind of tell you what your family origin is.
I thought it was just called 23andMe because you have 23 chromosomes.
Well, that's what it
human.
is.
23 pairs, yeah.
Yeah.
So they do this, and then they can look back and they can tell surprising stuff. You know, I've got ancestry that's what is it like 5% Inuit?
Oh, you got Inuit in you.
Right? I'm Native American, so you can all get out of my land now, right? It turns out I'm part Ashkenazi Jew, which we figured that was there. And then a lot of it was kind of what you'd expect. I got the family names go along with, there's Italian and Irish and all this back there. Yeah. Portuguese. And then a little mix of stuff that, must be a ways back because it's small percentages. 2.7% Neanderthal.
Not bad.
I eat vegetables occasionally.
2%.
But what was interesting, though, is like, okay, so some of that surname, some of that sort of generalized, how specific is this test really? Well, they do a thing where of people who've used 23andMe, they can match you up with who's likely to be a relative.
Oh, wow.
And they did this. This guy comes up, and his last name is my grandmother's last name, her surname, right? Yeah. And this guy he's actually the town over, and I since talked to my pops about the guy. They said it said based on the profiles he should be like a second cousin to me.
Yeah.
Sure enough, I talked to my dad, and he goes, "Oh yeah, that's probably your grandmother's brother's son or grandson." It sounds like I think that's my cousin or second cousin or something. So it was like this wasn't just they did a surname search. This wasn't just your people originated somewhere far away 10,000 years ago. Like it's pretty easy to track back. This was no, you got a second cousin in the next town over based on spitting in this vial and sending it to L.A. That was really cool.
You should pitch that to Radiolab as a story.
Oh yeah. Oh, they've got better stories though. No, they have much better stories than that. Huh. There have been people who found siblings that they did not know they had.
Wow, on 23.
Yeah, because and one might be an orphan or whatever, or they live in different parts of the country. Who knows? But according to the thing, it's like this person is your brother or sister.
Wow.
And like that's totally wrong. I don't have a brother or sister. And then look into it a little bit, and you're like, wow, they're from the town where my dad used to live, or wait a sec, what's going on? Like, they're like, and then you see a profile picture, and it's like, that looks like my aunt so and so. Wait a minute, like freaky stuff like that's happened.
Right.
So yeah, there's got to be much better stories than just finding a second cousin, but that really, it was just like that was like pretty wild because I'm like, oh, this thing really works.
Yeah, I should have gotten on it before the FDA like complained about it, and now they're like only giving you such less information.
Yeah. I just did it, so I think they do make a little sort of reverse disclaimer in it that as soon as they can get that lifted, they'll come forth with the rest of the info that they can stuff. But
that's pretty impressive, man. So you keep in contact with this person?
No. It's just a second cousin. I don't know.
You don't care.
No, it's not that. I'm not like looking to find more family. I got too much family for this. I don't need one more, Christmas card to do. Like,
right.
But it was just impressive to me that the thing was working at a level where.
That's pretty crazy, yeah.
Bam, right there,
I want to do it to find out how much Neanderthal I've got in me.
Right?
I just want to figure out what my missing eighth is.
It's gonna be more than an eighth too. This is what's gonna be funny. Is it showed a little bit of French and/or German in there. I'm like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like that.
Somebody was not being totally upfront.
But it's also small enough that it could have been a really, really long time ago. The Native American thing was funny because it's something my uncle always said. We're part Native American. He even said what tribe it was, and he's gone, and I don't remember the stories because my mother always told me, "Don't listen to him. He's just making stuff up. He's just making stuff. No, we're not Native American." Bam! 5% of the genes came across the land bridge, and it's common with the Inuits up there. Hey, that's my uncle was right. What do you say?
Not bad.
He was, and it's funny too because he was one of the older kids in the family, so he probably talked more with the grand and the great grandparents and the like, than his younger siblings. So yeah, maybe they were like, yeah, 1/16 something or another, whatever, But yeah, that was a fun thing to do. There's another weird thing about it too. It gives you now again, the population that they're sampling is only people who've used 23andMe. So there was one interesting thing with the surnames. There were surnames I was most related to, and these might only be like fifth or sixth cousins. I mean, might be a ways out. But one name was Cohen, another name was Taylor, right? And like these aren't like, Taylor and Harris was another. Like I don't know a Harris. I don't know a Taylor in the family. There's no Cohens in my family. I don't understand. But those were a majority of my like fifth and sixth cousins' surnames. Mm-hmm. None of which sound particularly Irish and Italian.
Night, Ed. Oh, he left already. Never mind. Do we have any other items to address?
No, I don't know about you guys, but that was a lot of fun for me. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, you were awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
I just like talking science. It's just fun to just do it. I don't get to do this all the time,
Yeah, well, I'm definitely going to tell Kiki to keep you on the short list. That was great.
Yeah, I'd be glad to be back.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna go pull out a quick.
How often is the Carry the One podcast? Where can we find it?
Yeah, we're on iTunes. Just search Carry the One Radio Science Podcast. We put out a show every 2 weeks on the 1st and on the 15th. Actually, the last 2 shows and this coming up show were hosted by Kiki.
Oh.
She hosted our Sound Off live event a few weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, at the end of May. So check us out.
Absolutely will.
Awesome.
Good night, Simon.
Night.
You guys have a good night. See you, Justin.
See you,
Blair. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, that was fun. All right.
So, Minions, this is your sound off. Any last things we need to discuss? Because I'm heading to bed soon. I still haven't packed.
When are you getting on this plane?
Saturday morning.
That's not for several days from now, by my.
That is literally 36 hours? No, 34 hours from now my plane takes off.
Oh, you better get packing if you haven't started yet. And when you come back, I'm gonna talk to your pops. We're gonna readjust. Oh, wait, you're not at your parents.
Huh?
Never mind. I was gonna sneak over to your house and rearrange your bedroom so that it worked better for the show. But I forgot.
I don't live with my parents, but you could arrange something with my roommates, I suppose.
All right, Blair. I think you're very close to having a. You have plenty of space. That room looks huge. Is that a noodle in the corner? What is that?
Oh no, that's not supposed to be in the view. Whoops.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be my physical therapy item for fixing my Martin bite problems.
What?
Yes. So it's supposed to go. I'm supposed to lay down on it on the floor along the long part of my back. I'm supposed to put my hands out on the floor, so I'm slightly like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm supposed to lean this way, roll this way,
Uh-huh.
and then roll that way,
Uh-huh.
and then roll this way, just extending out this muscle, basically.
Wow.
I have not been doing my physical therapy. Whoops.
Wait, is the flight in 34 hours?
Yes.
So, actually, you need to get there in like 23 hours.
No, so my flight to LA is in 34 hours.
Oh, so yeah, you can just hop on that.
That shouldn't be too difficult. My flight to Israel is at 1 o'clock on Sunday. And I have to meet the 40 18 to 22-year-olds that will be on the flight at 8 a.m., so 5 hours before the flight. So, yes, and even though I am trailed by 40 students that I'm in charge of, they still end up questioning me. And I'm like, but aren't all these children in my case proof that I'm supposed to be here? But still, it's not good enough. They have to question me, but that's fine. They have to be careful.
Well, it's one of the only cities without a prevalent zombie attack population.
Someone was telling you about that yesterday, that Jerusalem was safe in World War Z.
For a little while. Yeah, until somebody started singing.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go do that. I don't know if I'll be able to do TWIS or not. I really need to get like an iPad to do TWIS on the go, because this laptop is way too intense for me to take to another country unless I'm gonna be there for a long time.
Yes.
And I can't. I have a Hangout app, but it won't let you do Hangouts on air on my iPhone.
Yeah, and it seems like it would be. This is already clunky. Sometimes it seems like that would be extra too clunky.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing, is the hotel Wi-Fi is really shitty, or really bad. So I waited until the after show.
Blair's not quite ready for prime time.
Whoops. It's really poopy, so I don't want to lug this laptop across the world to then not be able to do TWIS because the Wi-Fi isn't good enough, which is highly probable.
No rights for robots. Jesus was not a zombie. Jesus was obviously a vampire. That's why he wanted everybody to drink blood so they could live forever. Didn't you read your Bible?
Okay, I must go.
Oh no. See, I think we're stuck. Hang on. Can you see if we can go off the air? Good night, minions.
Bye.